Hola, bonjour, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Tiki Talka. I'm Joseph. That's Travis. This is Justin. Today, just a quick little preview of what we're going to be talking about.
Are you comparing Serie A to MLS? Wow, the disrespect.
That far off?
It wasn't like we did bad. We just got relegated because we were cheating.
Pretty cool way to breeze over Countanopoly. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
You guys have those colors for a reason.
Serie A games aren't as entertaining because of the emphasis on defense.
Honestly, I don't even think Serie A is the top 5 division anymore. I think Liga overtook them.
Italy does produce some of the best coaches, but they don't play in Italy.
The last time a Serie A team has won the Champions League is Inter, 2010. The last time somebody won the Ballon d'Or from Serie A was Kaká in 2007. The last time any Serie A person made it into the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or votes was Ronaldo.
The most people I hear a lot of excitement around are children of former players.
It just goes to show that 2020 might have been a fluke.
I would say that. I think Mancini was amazing.
I think Lautaro Martinez is the only world-class striker in Serie A.
I don't think Serie A can pull a Pep or an Enrique.
There's no fear when people play Italy at all. It's gone. All right, everybody. So as you can tell, we're going to be talking about the state of Italian football. For better or worse, and I would say over the last decade or so, it's been for the worse. We're just going to talk about, how it's just been declining year upon year. And again, as you can see, Justin is a guest for today. Justin, there it is, Juve supporter. As you know, Joey and I are Milan fans, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Justin. How did you become a Serie A fan and particularly a Juve fan?
Yes, so just starting out back in like 2002, 2003, growing up, I had friends from Europe. I had a friend from Scotland and a friend from Germany, and they'd play soccer and they'd watch soccer. Essentially, like, you'd go to their house, you'd watch their games super early in the morning with them, and then they gave me one of those little like magic black boxes. And this is talking like 2002. I was able to watch like European soccer at different times in different places, and they knew I was Italian, so they were like, "What, you should watch Serie A, Juventus." And I was like, "Okay." So I started watching them. It was around 2004, so I got to see a little bit, but then they got relegated, and then I had to wait another year, but it was super fun. I would watch it on this like tiny...
It's a pretty cool way to breeze over Countanopoly. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Well, I'm sure we could get into that. Like, that's fine. But I spent a lot of my youth watching like Juventus on this tiny, like, those TVs with like the VHS player underneath it, like the tiny white TV in my room. And none of my parents really watched it, so it was just me. And it was fun, and I've been watching them since. Got really into playing it and watching it and just being up to date with the world of it. And that was really fun. I liked it a little bit more than watching like the Patriots win all the time. It was really cool to experience. So yeah, that's how I became a Serie A fan. And I've really only watched Serie A since I started watching the Premier League, I think like 2-3 years ago. I have a friend from Birmingham, so I was like, okay, I'll watch Aston Villa, and then that was like the only time.
And what a time to get into it as well. 04, right around there. 06, obviously, is when the last time they won the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily say that was Italy's peak, but it was definitely towards the tail end. I mean, you can make an argument for late 80s and 90s being towards their peak. Man, Juve was dominant. But you brought it up. Why don't we start with that relegation, Joey? I saw you were excited about that. Huh?
To say we just got relegated and act like, we just had one poor season. How many documentaries are there about that whole scandal of just paying referees? And then didn't you guys get in trouble 2 years ago doing basically the same exact thing?
It was some book balancing that we were a little off on. But yeah. So, and that happened again like 2-3 years ago. But because of that, it wasn't like we did bad. We just got relegated because we were cheating. And that's, happens.
Hey, you guys have those colors for a reason.
Yeah, the jail stripes. Yeah. So that was so early on in my watching days. And actually, that was the first time I ever heard about like relegation. What does that even mean? So it was just funny that I started getting into this team. My friends are just laughing at me like, your team got relegated for fixing books and stuff. And I was like, okay. Yeah, what do you want from me? Sounds about right.
History repeating itself, though, huh?
Yeah. We could get into that if you want.
That's a whole 2 hours in and of itself, bro.
Sure.
That's a whole thing, dude. But, I have a question for both of you guys since, you've both watched Serie A a little longer than I have. From what I can tell and from what I know, Italy's always been, a powerhouse in world football, right? A guy that comes to mind right away for me is, Maldini, Del Piero, guys like that. People who just exude excellence in the game. And I want to say since probably 2020, it's been a very, very steep decline. You can argue even before that. Walk me through what's the issue here? Is Serie A the issue? Is the youth system the issue? Is it just the philosophy of Italian football itself? Like why has there been such a huge decline from the glory days?
Who wants to start? You want to take that on
I mean,
first?
I could throw out start. One, finances. Essentially, what we've seen from the Premier League is that they buy all the good players from Europe and then just bench them. And they have the money to do that. They've been getting a lot of investments from a lot of bigger, wealthier Saudi Arabia. Like, you guys have that money, and I think there's definitely a multitude of things, and I'll try and cover them pretty quickly. One is just like the law of the language. Like, English Premier League is more accessible to the Americas, and I think there's more money that can be involved in that. Same with La Liga. A lot of Spanish speaking people around the world, so it's more accessible to larger amounts of people, and I don't think Italian soccer is seen as like up there. I think that first and foremost, that's one of the biggest reasons. The second is the philosophy of it. I think that where a lot of tactics are changing and always evolving. We won the 2020 Euro, and I remember watching a lot of games being like, this is really boring. It didn't matter who was playing or what, and then Italy was the only one actually crushing it. But yeah, I think tactics got really pragmatic. I think sports science kind of adopts these people, like physical fitness. You watch Pep Guardiola with Man City, and you don't have to have as crazy of a tactical thing if your players are just that visionary and that fit and that good, and the money is coming to them. Whereas Italy, I think, has kind of fallen off because it's still stuck with defend and counterattack. I know that it's kind of tried to move that way under Spalletti, but I think we're going to start to see that come back to defend and counterattack. And I think a lot of people think that's boring. Also, the goals that we score in Serie A are not these like glory goal, Premier League goals that I think when you watch highlight reels, it's a little different. Yeah, I think that those are my like tiers of why it's fallen off. That and finances, obviously. We just can't compete buying the best players. The last time we had the best player was when Ronaldo came to us, and we paid way more than just the cost of him for our team. So
More than he was worth.
yeah, and we didn't.
Yeah, but that could have been also a marketing move. You're getting his brand deals as well, so I'm sure they made their money back. They made their money back off Ronaldo and then just gave it to the refs again.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah, so I want to focus on each of these because, Joey, I would say, honestly, after the 2006 World Cup, I said I would think that's when the decline started happening. You start seeing it from there. Some people used to blame it on the World Cup curse. So if you look at, the winners of 2006, obviously Italy, they crashed out in the group stages in 2010. The winners of 2010 was Spain. They crashed out in the group stages of 2014. Same thing with France in history. You can blame it on that, but I think when a generation ages out, that's when there's a problem. And we'll touch on the players later, but I wanted to first start with the biggest problem in my eyes is what you touched on already, Justin, is the finances. A lot of it's going to be down broadcasting rights. And bear with me as I throw some numbers out there just to kind of put it into perspective of what we're talking about here. So, I was reading some articles, and since 2014 to 2024, over that span of time, this article was talking about how English clubs benefited from an increase of about like 1.7, almost $1.8 billion in that decade. Where if you look at the rest of the European leagues combined, there's like 53 other divisions in Europe. Combined, they made about 1.9. So they made just as much. Just EPL made just as much alone as the rest of Europe. So obviously, with that kind of financial backing, they're going to be getting the best players. Like Justin was saying, you would rather go make more and sit on the bench at an Aston Villa than maybe start for Napoli, let's say, because you're going to make 2-3 times as much. Also, with that many viewers, your career can take a different direction. All you need is one good performance and you can make it maybe to a Barcelona, Real Madrid, or something like that. So it has an effect. Money talks. Everybody has a price. Some other numbers, you look at the Premier League, on average, the Premier League clubs receive about 123 million a year. When you look at some of the other ones, like in La Liga, Bundesliga, and Serie A, they're making maybe around 52 to 56 mil on average. So these Premier League clubs, even though they're relegation fodder, are now able to keep up with Juve, Milan, Inter, and you're talking about like Ipswich. How?
Yeah, they got
Financially,
Ed
that
Sheeran money, bro. Relax. Easy on them.
what's that?
They have Ed Sheeran money, bro. Easy on them, man. Come on now.
Well, look, man, like I said, money talks, and everybody has a price. At some point, people are going to follow it. It is a very competitive league. The EPL has always been historically a competitive league, probably a lot tighter than most other leagues where there's only 2 or 3 good teams. But that would, for me, be the major issue.
I agree.
I hear you guys saying the money issue, but as a player, these clubs like Juve, Inter, Milan, they have much more pull than a Villa, a Burnley, a West Ham, and clubs like that can't compete.
Do they?
Yeah, they have to. Let's just talk about Juve players. Just talking pure aura. You have Andre Pirlo, Del Piero, Bonucci, Balgarese. You have
Dude,
Chiellini.
you're talking
you
about a
have.
time when they're in their heyday, though.
I know, but even so, what pulls players to Liverpool, to United? It's not the players that are there, especially not this current Liverpool side, especially not that current United side. It's the history that's there. Looking at Milan, Van Basten, Gullit, Rijkaard, like there's guys there. When you go to Inter, they have Adriano, Ronaldo, Eto'o. Like there's a lot of history here. So is it really the money, or has Serie A just totally lost that top 5 league kind of aura that does exist? I mean, do people just not want to play in Serie A anymore, no matter, like, even if it's money aside? Is there something wrong just with Italian football as a whole?
Let's be real. Who wants to go to England for the weather? Nobody. So sure as hell ain't for the weather. It's money and it's glory hunting. It's trophies. Dude, look how deep Liverpool and City and Arsenal are. Their B team, even arguably their C team, is just as strong as some others' A's team. Why? Knowing they're not going to play because they can get a chance to win the Champions League. Realistically, look what's happening right now. Inter just got destroyed.
Twice they've been
Glimpsed.
assaulted. Yeah, they got assaulted in the final too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
So is that more philosophy, or is it like money that you guys say? To me, that feels like a philosophy issue.
to say something with what you guys are saying. I will say that when you watch Premier League games and you watch Serie A games, the Serie A games aren't as entertaining, I think, because of the emphasis on defense. When I watch Premier League games, I see really glorious goals. A lot of the time I'm going to see a lot more like, wow, that was a goal in Premier League. And with the emphasis on defense in Italy, it kind of almost removes, and you're really kind of just trying to play some really quick little passes in the box to try and just tap it in or something like that. Even watching England versus Italy in the Euro of 2020, I knew right off the bat when England scored that first goal, I was like, that's exactly what they were supposed to do. Fine, whatever. And then we played, and like Bonucci scored the goal. It was like some flubby thing right in front of the net, and you're like, okay, yeah, we're back in this. But you're not going to, like, being a striker, if you're somebody who likes to attack, you're going to have a lot more opportunity and chances in Premier League than you are in Serie A. And just the entertainment and wow factor there is a lot more. Like when you watch Premier League, that's exactly why I kind of started to watch it. But then when you watch the Liga games, right, you had that era of Tiki Talka, really just people playing a game and it's fun and it's like, wow. But with Italy and Serie A, it's just, we're just gonna low block and we're gonna do it really well, but the goal is gonna be 1-0. You guys know you're both AC Milan fans right now, so Allegri ball is,
Fortunately,
I know, defend,
Fortunately.
give it to whatever winger is gonna run it up, and then he's on his own, right?
yeah, give it to whatever ring is going to run up. Leao is just doing hold up play right now, which is just
Yeah.
psychotic. That's not what Leao does. And I hear what you guys are saying about defense. There's a emphasis on defense, but Italy is known for having great strikers. Baggio, I'll say it again, Del Piero, Totti. Like, these are guys that would just unlock a game.
You've named 2 players who were like, heyday was 20 years ago.
No, for sure. I know I'm going deep into history, but
Yeah.
why is this so? Italy still has good strikers. They did put out good strikers. Immobile, he won the Golden Boot. Granted, that was 6 years ago, but you can't score. It is a thing that Italy known for. They do put out great attackers. Serie A is just stuck in the mud saying, no, this is what worked for us 20 odd years ago, 10 years ago, 16 years ago. We can't change our philosophy. who was it? I think Chiellini said a year ago that they've gone completely away from what makes Italian football. Always very strong defensively. Then you have 2 or 3 guys up top who just produce some kind of bit of magic. And it seems like that a defensive emphasis is still there, but it's just overly corrected to just being mainly about having like 5 guys playing behind the ball. Why is that issue? It seems Italy produces more holding midfield players or defenders now. Like why is that? Why is this the case?
Personally, Joey, I can agree on they are known for their attackers. I don't think, like Justin was saying, maybe 20 years ago, they had a handful of them. People Inzaghi, La Quinta, Del Piero, Totti. You had people like that, but that was kind of that golden generation of the frontline men. Other than that, you had Baggio a few years before that, and then it's not the same. It's not the same. Over the last 20 years, they've produced nothing going forward. Defensively, yes, it's still their strongest part of them, but they're still nowhere like near the likes of Nesta, Maldini. Donnarumma's good. He's not a Buffon, but he's really good. So they still are defensively strong, but that's kind of about it. I think they did a poor job, which we'll touch to in a bit, is doing the youth development. But I think everything is a domino effect, if I'm being honest. I think the money does have a lot to do with it because money helps build infrastructure. Money does help sign young kids. Like you can poach that kid from city. Instead of going to a city, you can poach him to come to a Juve or something like that, right? And it's not just attracting players, dude. Like name the top coaches in the world are not in Italy right now either.
That's
The
very
best Italian coach, Ancelotti, is at Brazil.
Yeah, he's in
And
Brazil
before that,
now.
before that was in La Liga, and before that in England, and then La Liga before that. Like they don't.
They
They're
don't
not
stick
thriving.
around. I would
Yeah.
go along with what you're saying, Travis, and just say I think Italy does produce some of the best coaches, but they don't play in Italy.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
they go where the money
I think
is.
sometimes they hold on a
Yeah.
little too long too. Like Allegri was amazing the first time at Milan, and then he did amazing at Juve, but then they just held on a little too long. And I think sometimes we're stuck in our ways. I think like when after Italy won the World Cup was kind of towards the end of AC Milan's era too. Around '09 is when it just kind of dropped off, and they became, to me, the old version of the MLS. People would go to Milan as pre-retirement before they went somewhere else. Like we got an older Robinho, we got an older Ronaldinho, an old Ronaldo. We brought Kaká back, and that's just Milan.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of truth in that. I think that, even today, right? You have Kevin De Bruyne went to Napoli. You have Romelu Lukaku, Paulo Dybala. He went from Juve, went to Roma. Even though that was a little bit different of a circumstance, they're all at the end of their career, but I'd rather them be playing in Italy than in MLS.
Yeah, 100%. So would I. But you look at even players like De Bruyne, right? Lukaku, people that couldn't make it in the EPL are coming to Italy and thriving. That does say something too. In a
Your
league that's
favorite.
supposed to be better defensively.
McTominay.
Yeah,
Scotty,
McTominay.
I love Scotty. But what does that say? It just means the league as a whole is just kind of weak. I was talking to Joey in an earlier podcast. I don't even think Serie A is a top 5 division anymore. I think Liga overtook them.
I think that there's a lot of grounds to say that. I think the reason why a lot of the older players like coming to Serie A, though, is that the Premier League is a very physical league. It's a lot of running. And I think with Serie A, it's tactical, it's vision, it's mindset. That's why you have Pirlo. That's why Modric is there right now, because he can just make that one magic play. Like you said, Joe, you remember a time when there was magic? I believe sports science killed the magic. You have teams that are just absolutely stacked. And on all fronts, when you look at the EPL, you basically can field a whole second starting 11 from your bench. Like, that's how I look at it. So they kind of absorbed it like a sponge, but you have all these older players coming over, and there is still that level of magic. I do like seeing that creative pass you didn't see coming. But yeah, to your point, I do believe that the quality has gone down in terms of what it can produce. And I was reading up the other day because I was trying to get myself ready for this podcast, but Baggio came in to kind of refresh Serie A, and he had a whole 900-page philosophy that he gave to the guys up the top. They're like, thank you, and we're not going to do any of this. And he was like, all right. So I think there was that time. I don't know, money, whatever, control, something. And I don't exactly know why, but I feel like if that had gone through, you would still see Italy as a top contender. But I do think that, like, from Italian players too, if you look at Juventus, there's only 3. There's Gatti, there's Cambiaso, and Those are on the national team. Like they're going to be on the bench. Whereas Inter, they have all the Italians. Even Napoli, they're the ones who have the Italians. And I remember when the last Euros, like you had Chiesa back then. You're looking around at like, where is the Italian talent? Where are they playing? We have 4 players in the Premier League, even at that level. So it's the quality has gone down. Like, yeah, I could sit there and be like, Juve till I die. If I'm this great soccer player and I can be better and I can go and expand and be better, and the Premier League is the place to do that, I want to go there. I'm just thankful we have uh Keenan Yildiz to kind of lock that in a little bit.
For now.
For now, yeah. And like that's the crazy thing. Like he just signed with us, and I'm so thankful because it's like that gives me one shred of hope. And I think that there will be a time where Italy comes back. I just don't see it right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to take like Klopp, Pep, some of those managers coming here and people wanting to play for them, because then they're good managers and they can attract talent. Right now, they don't have that. For me, I wanted to add that when Berlusconi owned Milan, he took them through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s of their peak. Once he sold, downhill. But he instantly regretted. He wanted to buy him back, couldn't. And ever since then, Milan's just been sold to other companies, other banks, deals falling through, being in debt. Inter Milan was in a similar scenario, just shady owners. It's just about owners that don't really care anymore. I think the people that were there and the true Italians that owned it before and wanted to win were gone. So they thought it would be profitable, found out it wasn't, and kind of just ditched the project, so to speak. When you look at now, Milan's still struggling. We had Reinders, great, sold him. Tonali, great, sold him. Donnarumma, great, sold him. Milan has shifted to a selling club, almost like a Dortmund now, where we used to be the powerhouse. And I will say this too: the last time a Serie A team has won the Champions League is Inter, 2010. The last time somebody won the Ballon d'Or from Serie A was Kaká in 2007. On top of that, the last time any Serie A person made it into the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or votes was Ronaldo when he was playing for Juve. What does that say about the state of Italian football?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very bad product. I mean, everything you guys are saying is it's not like it's incorrect, right? I mean, I'm just speaking as someone who's, quite ignorant to Italian football and, still very fresh and new to it. And just from what I know from it, I mean, Serie A has always been a great, great place. I mean, if you want to have your career take off and, be considered a legend of the game, you play in Serie A. You do it. You play Juve, you play at AC Milan. Like those were the only 2 clubs for a long time. Then, Inter had its heyday for, about 10-ish years or so where they decided to show up for a little bit. So I just don't understand how you go from producing a Ballon d'Or winner every 2 years, it seems like, to just now you can't even retain Italian talent. How many times did Juve or Milan had an amazing Italian player, right? And these clubs that did have the money, it's not like this money is fresh and new to the Premier League or La Liga or anything like that. This money's been here for an awful long time. You can poach an Italian player out of Serie A. And now they're trying to leave. They want to leave left and right. And just as an example, Bastoni, he's arguably Italy's best player currently. And he's looking like he's going to be gone after this season. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, that's not even a thought. That's unfathomable in Italy. I mean, money is one thing for sure, but it's got to be deeper than that. You know what I mean? Just like you said, Travis. I mean, the last time an Italian team won a European Cup was Inter when they did the treble. And this is going to be potentially Italy's 3rd World Cup. Not being here.
Keep in mind, it's cyclical. If you don't have the money, you're not buying the best players. If you're not buying the best players, you're not winning. So who wants to come to a club that's not winning? So and they can't pay people. Every time you're winning, you're getting that prize money and you're getting higher broadcasting deals. You're now in negotiations saying, I need a better deal because I have the best team. So it is cyclical. Another thing too is that a lot of these Italian teams don't own the stadiums. It's either council-owned, city-owned. They're sharing stadiums to save costs. So their revenue streams from ticket sales and things like that are going to be squeezed because some of it has to go to the city. That's an infrastructure problem. Massive. Between that and the mismanagement, like we said, of owners, it's just a cyclical effect. At this point, we can get started on the youth development. Bastoni, you said, was great. Donnarumma, great. Calafiori, great. I think defensively, fine. I don't have a problem with the defense. I think the defenders and the goalies can probably be up there with the best in the world. After that, who have we developed? Since Pirlo's aged out, we have Barella, who couldn't tie Pirlo's shoes.
Yeah.
He's a great player for today's standards. Don't even ask about a number 9. You have Scamacca, good luck. Retegui?
Moise Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Balotelli for like a short stint.
Why do
Yeah.
you keep his head on his shoulders? Yeah.
But dude, we have not produced anybody from the youth development in the forward areas, even midfield and beyond. You look
Yeah.
at what Jurgen Klinsmann did for Germany when he for 06. He set them up to win that 2014 World Cup. And mind you, he was the coach in 06, but he set up the youth structure and the youth development so they could be ready by the time they hit that mark. We don't have that.
Yeah, I haven't heard really any sort of plan either for this. You take a look at Belgium. This was like 15 years ago. They created a whole youth system just like on the bat, like we need to be here in doing things. And then they did in that system develop their golden generation. De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, Romelu Lukaku. Yeah, you had these players that you could build a team around that, and like that was insane. But I see nothing in Italy. I don't even see it from the players themselves. It is really difficult to get behind this week in, week out, and you're just kind of like, yeah, what youth academy? Where are they pulling players from? I know that we've had a few players and we've sold them to Tottenham, but like look where that's going, you know? That was kind of our for a few years I was like, why is Tottenham still buying all their players? Like, but keep in mind those are players that I did want. Like when I saw them, they showed promise, and I was like, oh, okay, like Mbangulo, I'd like to see him develop. I'd like to see him work. It's like, nope, sold. Like, all right, and that's where we are. And to go back to what you guys were saying, we're a club that develops something, tries to make some money out of it, and sell them higher, and then we're like, all right, let's pocket some money. And I think that that's really what's going on. Kind of always looked at Juventus as that kind of team as well. Even years ago, we're talking like the late 90s we had Zinedine Zidane play for us. And I was like, why did we let him go? It's like, well, he went to Real Madrid and they offered him a ton of money. So, you know, there's that. We just can't sell do you guys, who's your striker for AC Milan? I don't even right?
Well, we're
like
using
we all have a striker problem.
Right now, Leao is our
Leao,
9, but we have
wasn't he on the left? Doesn't he usually play on the left?
Santi
No,
Jimenez.
he's a 9. He's a hold-up 9.
He's a hold-up
now,
9?
Which is genius. It's just masterclass in management.
Yeah, Allegri ball. Yeah, because we had Moise Kean for that. And like, yeah, it was exactly the thing. Just boot it to him. He's the only one there. Just hold it up and pass to the right or left, right? But we have 4 strikers right now. Nobody can score a goal. Vlahovic, Openda, Jonathan David. We just got Boga in. He's showed some promise, but it's been a whole season of this. While I'd like to see that Spalletti is taking the team to create something, our strikers is just terrible. And why would you want to be a striker and come to Serie A when no one's going to man mark you from 30 yards out? Just try and go for it in the Premier League.
This might be a hot take, but honestly, I think Lautaro Martinez is the only world-class striker in Serie A at the moment.
I would agree. Yeah.
I mean, name another one.
Yeah, we don't. I don't. Yeah. And you're right.
It's just very weird that, again, this system that produced an entire generation of great forward players, right? I mean, they're not bums. Like, these are some of like the best forwards to be playing world football. How do you drop off in, it's not even 20 years now. Let's say we're beyond saying 20 years. It was 10 years that this entire, system fell off right away. I mean, that 2020 Euro, I mean, it was won by a amazing Federico Chiesa counterattack goal. And look at Chiesa now. I love Fed. I'm a Liverpool fan, but he's not going to be the main man on a team. And, it seemed like Italian football was hanging its hat on him being the next great forward player. Is that off base? It seems like the most people I hear a lot of excitement around are children of former players. And it's more off of the name than it is pure talent. Anyone who does have the pure talent just can't seem to get a break, or they move on. They go somewhere else.
Yeah. They go to greener pastures.
It just goes to show that 2020 might have been a fluke.
I would say that. I think Mancini was amazing. I thought he was a good tactical coach. I think
he did well.
You had a
defense. The players were punching above their weight, no doubt, in that tournament. Nobody had us beating England.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, dude, Jorginho got third place in the Ballon d'Or off of that, man. Come on now, respect him.
So. Oh, that's because he was
if Chiellini hadn't pulled down Xhaka, I think it might have been a different story. But yeah, you're right. And it took a little greased hand, I think, on that one. Looking back at that, I go, well, he was clean the whole game, and then they did that. And you're like, all right, it wasn't a total goal scoring opportunity, but really, that would have been it. I think that would have been the seal in the deal for Italy to get knocked out. But you're right, and you look at how we played though. We had Chiellini, we had Bonucci, Donnarumma on defense. Those three in and of themselves, I was very happy to have. They were aging out at that point. This is their last hurrah. They just had the vision, they had the understanding of the field. They've been doing it for so long that it doesn't matter if some kid who's like genetically modified to be this way because of sports science is coming in. And you look at the teams that they played, I think I think in the group stage they played Turkey. They were okay. They did very well. I think the hardest game we had was against, I think it was Hungary. And I remember watching that going like, this was our toughest game. Every other game I felt like we had that. So it's interesting to see how just like from there and just to go off. And I know everyone says it probably started longer, but it was just by that point completely noticeable and evident by the end of that Euro.
Well, the reason I was saying that it could have been a fluke is because you look at the 2018 World Cup, we missed. You look at the 22 World Cup, we missed. We won in between, sure, but that's just a Band-Aid. That's just painting over the cracks of what's been happening. Like I said, since we won in 06 World Cup, what have we done since then? Nothing really. We crashed out in 2010, 2014, and got knocked out in the first knockout stage, and then didn't make the last two. So it's just been very, very, very poor.
All right, I'm hearing a lot of negative from you guys. Let's get some positivity. How would you fix Italian football? So you're appointed president of the federation tomorrow. What's your first step? How do you try to get ready and say, let's just put the hypothetical, as much as it's going to hurt you guys both. Let's say you don't qualify for this World Cup. It doesn't happen.
You gonna put that out there?
Hey
Just
man,
like that?
it's a very real possibility. I love Gattuso. He's awesome, but it's going to take more than just someone who's willing to beat someone's face in. Manager.
The Grinta, yeah.
Yeah, like it's going to take a little bit more than that. So say you don't qualify for this World Cup. How do you ensure that you don't go 4 World Cups in a row?
It's not a quick fix. It's going to have to take, it goes back to youth development, because at the end of the day, when you play an international tournament, you can't borrow players. They have to be your own. So it's about cultivating them within Serie A, keeping them in Serie A, growing them, making them love and play for the badge. And ultimately, it's going to take 10, 15 years. Like I said, we have the talent right now defensively, but we don't have it offensively. So to think it's just going to spring up in like 2 years, probably not.
I'm giving you 4.
I think we just need to go to Saudi Arabia and say, hey, look, we got to be competitive. I'm not joking. During the Club World Cup last year, I was looking at like how much Juventus was worth. It was like 620 million. I looked at Chelsea and I was like, well, that's over $1 billion. It's more than double our money. And it showed. It was like watching a team that's half your value playing you. It's like a totally different league. But to go with your point, Travis, how do you influence the kids? How do you influence them to go like, I could do this? Like, it's a chicken or the egg scenario. Do you develop the kids first, or do you get the money to develop the kids? It's a balancing act. You need to start making those two moves, I think, coinciding with each other in order to do something like that. Sure, if you just focus on one or the other, you might have one stint of it being really good, which I'd be happy for right now because we haven't been there at all. But if we want to remain consistent, the consistent Italy that we are used to, I think we have to manage balancing the finances and the youth development. I think we need to emphasize a lot of that finance into the youth development. And I think we'll actually see something come out of it.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I think if I had to pick one to do first, it's going to be youth development. The way to do that is to get a coach.
We have Spalletti. I think Spalletti's really?
He's not enough. Name big stars that are going to leave La Liga for Spalletti. Nobody. There's very few coaches. You're really talking like Jurgen Klopp, Carlo Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola, Luis Enrique. That might be it. So if we can attract one or two of those coaches, that's a start. That's going to bring current players into it, and it's just going to boost the academy from within. They'll bring their philosophy with them, and it kind of is like a cyclical effect from there. So that's what I would do. You got to get one of those big coaches. And you look at over history, when Italy won the World Cup, Serie A was the most dominant during that time. Then it shifted to Spain. La Liga was the strongest. And guess what? Spain won the World Cup. Then it shifted to Germany when Dortmund and Bayern were making the Champions League finals. Guess what? They won the World Cup. Now it's shifted to the Prem. They're going to win the World Cup. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Cup. They might be the bottle jobs that break the cycle. But I think after that, it's got to move again. The Prem has already lost a lot of the strong coaches. They have Pep left. That's about it. Everybody else is dispersed. I mean, we're talking.
Whoa, you don't rate Arteta? What?
You don't like Unai Emery? Come on, man. Like,
Good
No, I
evening.
do like Emery, but I wouldn't put him in the same class as Pep. You look at when there was Jose, Pep, Klopp, Antonio Conte, all at the same time. That was like good luck. That was so enticing to watch.
Even Tuchel.
So I don't think after the shift from the Prem, I don't think it's going to go to Liga. I don't think there's enough teams that are big enough to make it happen. So personally, my prediction is that it's going to shift to Serie A. So I think within the next 5 years, we'll see Serie A become big again. That's my prediction.
I like that prediction because then we're all gonna sit here in 5 years and be like, "I was watching us when we were bad, and I held on." Like,
This is the worst
True
football
fans.
to watch. Hating
I
my life
remember.
watching the whole weekend.
Yeah, Joey, you mentioned something earlier that I want to talk about was the playing style. And you're saying did Italians hold on a little bit too long in how things were 10, 15 years ago? I think there is some truth to that. I think there was a delay in keeping up with modern football and even human attention span. Unfortunately, you see the game becoming more of a basketball match. 4-3s, 5-6, like high scoring matches, high intensity. Their attention span of the average person has just shrunk so much that they don't want to sit for a full 90 minutes for a 0-0 display, which you're probably going to get at Serie A historically. We're the last, right, to shift to playing out of the back, and we're not doing very well at it for the most part. But I think there's something to keep. There's one thing to shift and become like everybody else, but I think we do need to stick with what works best. I'm not saying counterattack because, trust me, I played counterattack. It's boring as hell. But we do have to be defensively solid. And I feel like there are coaches that should be able to do both. I know you're not going to like this, Joey, but you look at Slot last year. Last year, they weren't as like crazy as the year before with Klopp, where it was all like rock and roll, high scoring games all the time. They were a bit more defensively sound, but still banging in the goals, right? So if you can find something like that, that would be key. Because right now it's a little too defensive, in my opinion. And the coaches that do try and play it out of the back would just get murdered because we don't have the players for that.
I hear what you're saying. You can't be like everyone else, but I don't think the world is converging and being entirely similar. Spain is known for possession-based football, right? Quick one-touch passes, and maybe you have some guy who'll do a little bit of magic, dribble around 2 or 3 guys, and he still lays the ball off. That's still Spain's entire philosophy. England is always just high-intensity, attacking football. They've gotten stronger with holding on to the football instead of just booting it around and trying to rely on Gaza or Bex to do something for them. They're still that team. Look at Germany. Germany is the team when you think about playing out of the back. That's what Germany did first, and they'll be on you for a full 90 minutes, pressing you until you can't breathe anymore. But all these teams have adapted their philosophies. You can still be a solid defensive team and be in the modern era. It's possible. Clown on Inter a lot. They got destroyed in the last Champions League, but Inter was probably one of the best defensive teams in Europe, if not the best. They got all the way to a Champions League final. It can still work, but you can't just rely on that being your only thing. Again, you can't do what worked 20 years ago to winning a World Cup and expect it to work now. It can't happen anymore. So I do agree. You can't be like everybody else, but you can't lose who you are.
You need that blend, dude.
For
Yeah,
sure.
6-7. See that? You need that blend.
All right, that was a good pod. That was a good pod, boys. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Travis. There definitely needs to be a manager that has to come to Serie A and brings top talent in, and then that's only going to make another manager want to go there to compete against him, or it's going to force teams to take a risk on a young manager. I wanted to say it, but you guys talked too quickly for me. Munich. Who did Bayern Munich pick up to be their coach last season? Company. He's not a proven guy at all, but Bayern Munich's still dominating. He still has Bayern still being Bayern. Not entirely different from how they've always played. It's not entirely different from German football as a whole. I don't think Serie A can pull a Pep or an Enrique. That's not going to happen anymore. And Ancelotti after Brazil, he's done. Upset, he's done too. He's not going to want to be a manager anymore. So now you have to take a risk as, a club to get a top manager. Pirlo, when he was at Juve, he lasted how long?
A season. Less than
A season.
That. Yeah.
Like you can't just, dump a guy off in 1 year. It just doesn't make sense. It's going to take time. I agree with you guys. It's not going to be 2 years, a year and a half, and then it's fixed right away. But you got to take a risk on a manager, or maybe Italian manager. Yeah, maybe Italian managers aren't.
No, not me.
Gets you out of the.
I got one in mind.
Who?
Fabregas. If I were Milan or Juve, like I would pick up Fabregas. What he's doing at Como, good stuff, man.
That's
It's
actually really
mind-blowing.
true. I mean, I did
He's
not
up
expect
and coming.
Como.
He's going to
Up and
Chelsea,
coming
guys.
manager.
He is going to Chelsea. I
They
can
could-
guarantee you that.
Why did they give Rossinier that contract?
Come on, it's really you're asking me why Blue Group is doing anything that they ever do.
I'm sure they'll try, but I think he's going to want to play Champions League with them if he can make it. Europa League.
Okay, so
maybe even.
let's say you qualify. Do you think if a Chelsea comes and throws a blank check at you, hey, I'll be a manager, or say a Milan or a Juve throws a blank check at him?
They already have, and he chose to stay. I think he'll do one season, just like Alonso did. I think he'll stay one European season, and then he's gone. He can go anywhere. Arsenal, Chelsea, Barca, depends on who's in the market. But if I were an Italian team, I would take him now. I would take Alonso now. Look, because before Liverpool gets him, why are people sitting on these managers that are available? Young, up and coming. Alonso has proven it at Leverkusen. He has his whole career to go back to Liverpool. Try and get him now.
Don't be greedy. Let him
Don't
come
be
to
Juve.
the
Are you
Merseyside.
saying don't be Juve?
I mean, it's just I'm just want to like hammer this point in. There's no way you're gonna get a top manager. Like in no universe can I dream of Pep Guardiola going to Serie A or even Liga.
After his break. Where would he go? He's
think
not
Pep is
coaching.
done.
He's not going to coach against Barca. He's not going to coach against Bayern, and he's not going to coach against City.
And I think he's done.
He's either going to get international, which he's always wanted to do, or he played at Roma. There's a chance.
Dude, no way he's gonna go to
But-
Rome either, man.
Even if it's not Pep, like I said, what about Fabregas, Alonso?
You shot my point down for me, dude. Cesc doesn't
Deserbi.
want to be there. Cesc doesn't want to be in Italy. He's only there because he's going to try to prove a point with Como. But once they get bounced out or whatever happens, he's done. He's out of there.
Possibly.
Come on. Who would he stay for? Who would entice him?
Honestly, I think the two. Well, there's three, I guess, giants in Milan or Italy's both Milans and Juve.
I'm happy with Spalletti. You guys probably want to dump Allegri, I imagine.
Yeah.
He's boring. He's so boring.
It is boring. But I
Yeah.
knew that when we were linked to him, I knew that was going to happen. But it is what it is. We're defensively a little bit more sound and solid. I don't think we have a great squad. In fact, I love Modric, but the fact that he's 41 and still our best player says a lot.
Rabiot's the second best player on that team. What world is Andre Rabiot?
I would not agree with that. No way.
Top player. Who's better?
Mike Mignon.
Goalie?
All right, so Rabiot is
He's-
our second best player on the team for sure.
No, Magic Mike's amazing, guys. Don't underestimate
Yeah,
him.
no, Mike is a great keeper, man, but he's got hamstrings like mine, bro. And like I'm still tight, and I kicked a ball around 3 weeks ago, right? And I don't play footy. He's got worse hamstrings than me. It's Rabiot, Pulisic, Leao, and then probably Magic Mike. Your second best player cannot be your keeper.
Why?
Because then where do you go from there? Where do you go from when
Dude, so what if you
when
had
Buffon was
Buffon?
Juve? Who was
Yeah.
Juve's best player by far?
He's up there as one of,
Yeah,
but
dude.
yeah, like when you look at Juve's best player in Buffon's time, Del Piero. That's what I think of, right? But you're right. Like I guess so. Yeah, your keeper. Huh?
Joey, look at every team that's won the Champions League and tell me which goalie was not world class.
Go to my Rolodex. Edouard Mendy, Chelsea.
They brought in Kepa for the PK saves, huh? On
Yeah.
that one.
So again, you just proved my point twice right there, dude.
No.
Kepa's world
Okay.
class.
But those saves were.
Yeah, but having a game out of your life does not make you a world class keeper. I mean,
Okay,
that's
keep
just-
going.
That's
You have a
that's
one-off
like,
shot, a one-off game. Keep going.
That's a red herring there, dude.
Most of the teams that win Champions League and the best teams in the world do have a world-class goalie.
No, for sure. I mean, last season, Donnarumma, world class. Who was before them? Madrid. Yeah. Okay. So
It's funny how you forgot that.
yeah. So Courtois is a great guy. Really good. And then yeah, you have a point, dude. You need to have a great keeper for sure. First one that comes to my head. Another example. Jersey Dudek. I love Jersey Dudek. I know you love Jersey Dudek. You love Jersey Dudek so much for that 05 final. But Dudek is not world class.
Look, that your whole team was not world-class. That was talk about paying the refs. Something must have happened.
Chabi and Gerard, please respect.
Okay, two guys. What about the other 9?
We don't even talk about the other
Yeah,
9. Dude. We don't
exactly.
need to worry about that.
That 05 final, man, I don't know. It kills me every time I think about it.
Your best players can't be your keeper, dude. This is exactly the cycle that Italy's in because of this. Like, okay, what we need is have 2 really good center halves and a good goalkeeper, and then the rest is going to figure itself out.
Buffon is arguably the GOAT keeper. So
It's
I don't know.
Casillas.
You can't really argue about goalie being the best if he's arguably the GOAT keeper. Come on,
It's Casillas, but okay, yes.
dude. Casillas?
Yes.
No.
How is it not Casillas?
How is it not Buffon?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I
Wait,
think
how many
Buffon
European
gets
Cups?
this.
You can say Champions League. You can say all that.
How
But
many European Cups? And Casillas has a World Cup too, right?
he has Euros, World
God
Cup,
bless
and
you.
Champions League.
Yeah,
But that's because he was on Real Madrid. If Buffon went to
Buffon
Real
was on Juve. What?
Yeah, but Juve is not historically known for winning the Champions League.
Yeah, we won it in like '98.
Real Madrid's won 15.
Since
Yeah,
then.
dude. Yeah. I just can't subscribe to your best player being your keeper.
Hey, it's not that we want
Buffon. I'm not trying to discredit
It's
Buffon.
not that we don't want him to be.
That's fair.
I would love to have a world-class striker. Right now Italy's missing a Pirlo. Even if you suck offensively and you're trying to play out of the back and you're decent defensively, if they had a Pirlo right now, somebody that can break the lines from an 80-yard pass, we don't have that right now. We don't have a Gattuso playing in there. That's just like a dog that, shit, if this guy's coming at me, I better run the other way because he's going to take my kneecap with him. There's no fear when people play Italy at all. It's gone. So it needs to come back.
Feel bad for you guys, man. Easy being a United States fan and basically only supporting them in Spain because I have no expectations ever.
I know, for real. So I've been watching USA in the World Cup, I think almost as much as I've been watching Italy in the World Cup now. So it's been disappointing to say the least. But one day with a Fly Emirates jersey on.
For sure. Fly Emirates, bro. Qatar Airways on the back too. Italy would be so back. Just to get back on your guys' point too, it does have to start with the youth team, I think. But I think Justin does have a point in saying you need to go and get some funding first before you can even start thinking about that. You need to have a club that youth players want to play for. And if you don't have a club that's, enticing to be at, then youth system is never going to happen. I think that's probably the main issue that's currently going on in the United States too, which is hold their conversation. But no one wants to play in the U.S. Who seriously wants to play for LA Galaxy, Columbus Crew, Chicago Fire, to dominate Houston Dynamo, Austin Football Club? Who wants to play for these guys? I mean,
that's comparing Serie A to MLS.
Is that far off?
The disrespect.
Is that far off?
Yeah, it's pretty far off, man. I mean, I'll watch Juve in the morning and then I'll watch LAFC at night, and
Look, I'm not saying the quality of the league is similar. Trust me, I can't watch a full 45 minutes. I can't watch one half of the MLS. All right, I hear you guys. But my point being is, if you don't have your youth that wants to play in your country, if you don't want to play for your club, I mean, kids grow up in England, they want to play for their local club, right? Kids grow up in Spain, they want to play for the local club. Even in the Netherlands, you grow up, you want to play for Feyenoord, you want to play for Ajax, PSV. This happens. Germany's the same place too. Italy, like I said, you could never, ever get an Italian kid to leave Italy. You can never get them to leave Serie A. Now they want to leave. They're desperate to leave at this point, man.
What needs to happen is that one of the clubs needs to have a class of 92, if you will, and just have the 4 or 5 generational talents all on one team.
Just put out 4 or 5 of the best players in the world in their position, and that's just going to fix it all.
Let a man dream.
I'll let you have it. Dude. I'll let you fantasize. USA will win the next World Cup. Believe me.
Yeah, but not for their, skill or talent. It's someone's hand is greased in that.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Hey, let me dream, man. All right? It's
the U.S. the women's team, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks, Justin, for coming on.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having me. It was a pleasure. I don't get to talk a lot about Serie A. I'm usually talking about the Premier League, so this has been an enjoying experience. Yeah. Sorry I had a lot to say.
We'll have you on in the future when we do a combined 11, AC Milan versus Juve, all greats, or something like that. So
yeah,
it's great to have you on, man.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here, guys. Thank you so much.
Sir.
All right, guys. So if you like this video, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And we'll see you on the next episode of Tiki Talka.
Layers.